Hey there, welcome back to my channel if you're returning, or welcome if you're new. So I'd like to talk about something that affects many of us women, and that would be our menstrual cycle and how it impacts our workouts or our fitness ability. So contrary to belief, our menstrual cycles actually do affect the way that we perform in the gym, and we actually need to keep in mind how to plan accordingly for that. Personally, I've been able to see a lot of gains in the gym after discovering how to train with my cycle instead of against it. Hypertrophy, which is muscle growth, and recovery started to come much more easily after I started like this heavy loading and deloading style of workout programming. I was able to see the difference really quickly and progress in strength much more quicker as well. And before, I was honestly beating myself up a lot, not realizing that my cycle was affecting what I can do. I was also getting discouraged too that I wasn't able to do as much as I was doing the previous week, but I didn't realize until now that this is due to a very real and very natural roadblock that is not a result of me slacking or not going hard enough, but rather me going against something that I should be working with. This is also super important too, because women that feel as though they can't progress, maybe one thing to keep in mind is that your menstrual cycle might be affecting it can be going really well one week, and then the next week it just feels like completely off or hard or impossible. And PMS or mid menstruation discomfort and all of the above can really impact your performance. It's definitely something to consider. Now, I know that for some of us, the thought of working out during our period can be daunting. The bloating, the cramps, the fatigue, it can all make it feel like the last thing you want to do is hit the gym. But if we're being honest, working out during your period can actually be very beneficial for you because it can alleviate a lot of your symptoms, help with your both your physical and your mental health. It can help alleviate cramps, improve mood and energy levels as well. And it can even help regulate your menstrual cycle too. This should be exciting news because there's ways to tailor your workouts so that it can go along with your cycle so that you can keep up with your fitness goals, as well as being mindful with your body and listening to what it's saying to you. Also, by understanding the different phases of your menstrual cycle, you can make adjustments to your workout routine that make the most of your energy levels, because during each part of the cycles, you're going to have different levels of energy to work with. It's best not to, if you don't have that much energy in the tank, you don't want to basically use up all your reserves when you don't have to. Okay, so let's start with understanding the different phases of your menstrual cycle and how they kind of work throughout a 28-day process. And I'm looking at notes, by the way. Okay, so the menstrual cycle is a 28-day process that is divided into two parts: the follicular phase and the luteal phase. So for the follicular phase, which is 1 to 14 days, is the beginning of the menstrual cycle. This is when a new egg is released from the ovary and it starts to travel towards the uterus. It is also the time when the lining of the uterus starts to thicken in preparation for a potential pregnancy. So to note, during this phase, estrogen levels are high and energy levels tend to be higher, making it a great time for more intense workouts. So next is the luteal phase, which is 15 to 28 days in. It is the second half of the menstrual cycle. This is when the egg that was released during the follicular phase, it is either fertilized or it is discarded. So it is also the time when the lining of the uterus is shed. So that is the bleeding that you experience. During this phase, progesterone levels are high and it can become more difficult to maintain the same level of intensity during workouts. You're going to feel a bit more fatigue, a bit more tired, just a bit more, in a sense, sluggish. That's how I feel. This is also a time when cramps and bloating can occur too. So it's a good idea to focus on low intensity workouts such as yoga, light cardio, and etc. So do keep in mind, not all women have a 28-day menstrual cycle. And that's just, every person's cycle is different. And some people may not experience any issues during their periods, while others may experience cramps and other discomforts. So it's important to pay attention to your body and adjust accordingly. But for the most part, those two phases that I mentioned apply to everyone. There's going to be one section where estrogen levels are going to be higher, one section that estrogen levels are going to be lower, and workouts can be tailored accordingly. Okay, so let's start with the first part, which is the follicular phase. So this is when the estrogen levels are high and the energy levels are typically higher. This means that your body has more energy to use for exercise and physical activity. So as a result, it's a great time to do weightlifting and HIIT training and just anything that requires a lot of energy out of your body. So weightlifting is an excellent way to build muscle and strength and also burn fat too. And the increased energy levels during the follicular phase can make it easier to push through more challenging sets and reps and weights too. HIIT is also a good option because it puts together short bursts of intense cardio with periods of rest or recovery. And the after effects of HIIT training go beyond the time where you're working out too. Like, it burns fat much longer after too. So it's great to implement in a body recomposition programming or a fat loss programming as well. Also note that HIIT training is also perfect for improving cardiovascular health too. So definitely get that in as well if you'd like to expand your cardiovascular health. You can push yourself to the limit during this phase, and you can achieve a lot of fitness goals during this time. The high energy levels during the follicular phase can make it easier to tackle more challenging things and push through burns too. So your plateau does not come as quick as the other phase that we're going to get into. It's a great time to challenge yourself, lift heavier, do personal bests. But remember to be consistent and stick to your routine, but also listen to your body at the same time, especially if you're feeling particularly fatigued or experiencing cramps. And it's okay to take it easy and adjust your workout as needed. So just continuing on with suggested exercises that would include weightlifting, like squats, deadlifts, bench presses, and lunges. And HIIT workouts would include like Tabata style, where you do sometime on, sometime off, sometime on, sometime off. And you can also do circuits. And some good cardio examples would be running, cycling, rowing, but the list is just not exhaustive. It can go on and on. The second part, which is the luteal phase, is when progesterone levels are high and it can be more difficult to maintain the same level of intensity during workouts. This is because progesterone is known to cause fatigue, bloating, and cramps. So it makes it harder to push through intense exercises. So with that in mind, it's a great time to focus on lower intensity workouts such as yoga and light cardio. And these types of workouts can help to alleviate these symptoms too, like the cramps and the bloating and everything in between. And it still keeps you moving too. So yoga, for example, is a great way to increase flexibility, reduce stress, and improve overall well-being. Gentle stretching and breathing exercises can also help to alleviate menstrual cramps and discomfort too. Light cardio is also great during this phase. Activities like brisk walking, cycling, or even swimming can help to improve cardiovascular health and boost energy levels while your energy levels are relatively low in this phase. It's also important to remember that not all women experience some of these symptoms during their menstrual cycle. So some may not experience the discomfort or like the cramps and the bloating and all that, but it is important. Pay attention to your body and adjust accordingly. This phase is all about finding balance and listening to yourself. So lower intensity things, they can really help with this. And they also keep you on the go. Not to mention, it won't put too much stress on your body, so you're not draining the energy reserves that you don't really have much of in the first place. So there's yoga. You can also do brisk walking, cycling, and swimming. And then stretches such as Pilates or gentle yoga is also good too. And also abdominal exercises are actually pretty good too to do, like planks or some gentle crunches. So what may work for one person may not work for the other because of the varying like cycle lengths, experiences, the symptoms, and things like that. But for the most part, this is definitely for those that really feel the dips, the highs and the lows in their menstrual cycles. You guys can benefit most from it because the difference is so stark and apparent and clear. So to help with those symptoms, the suggested tips that I give you in this video could definitely give some type of change or some type of improvement to those negative effects. If you are feeling extremely fatigued during like your workout or in a particular part of your menstrual cycle, it's probably best to reduce the intensity and the duration of your workout. Personally, for me, when I am working out during my periods, I don't go past 45 minutes. When I do have full energy, I could go like an hour and 20 minutes, but that's just not the case when I am on my period. They go as far as up to 45 minutes with a good amount of time being the gentle cardio. And then I'll go into more movement of the body type of things that I do. So that would be some stretches, some dynamic stretches. It would be some lighter weight versions of exercises that I already do. So for example, Romanian deadlifts, where I would probably use a barbell and a couple of plates. That gets swapped out for some dumbbells and some slow and steady movements, which is totally fine. It works just the same, I notice, when I'm doing it during my cycle. If I were to do the light version, like the cycle version, when I'm on my period outside of my period, so like during my more energized phase, I realize that it's not gonna give me much progress, and it's really most effective when I need it. It's okay to take it easy if you need to take it easy. Keep in mind, the most important part is that you are staying consistent and you are still working your body out, you're still moving, and you're still getting some exercise. That is way better than just staying at home and not doing anything with your body at all. So if you have to dial back, don't be afraid to. And if things are real bad, you can always use heat therapy too. So you can use like a heating pad. You can use a warm shower to alleviate yourself. I noticed that intercourse helps too. It warms your body up. It helps alleviate cramps as well. So for that reason, I find it very helpful, but to each his own. So do not skip your workouts entirely, okay? Please do not do that. You are skipping out on potential benefits that your period could really benefit from. And it's just overall good for your well-being too. If you're not careful about how you train during your menstrual cycle, it can have some negative outcomes. The keep pushing harder or the no pain, no gain mentality can be damaging for people with vaginas because it is disregarding the very real and very apparent feelings that come with having a vagina and a menstrual cycle that can derail a lot of your progress if you don't keep it in mind. Some of the negative effects can include an increased risk of injury. If you are pushing yourself too hard during your period, you may be at a higher risk of injury. And this is because your body may be more fatigued and less able to handle some level of intensity as you would during other times in your cycle. A very good example, if you are able to, lift in an overhead press, your normal may be like 245 plates. And if you try to do this during your period where you are a bit weaker, you may put yourself at risk of hurting yourself and dropping that weight right on you. So please keep that in mind if you know that your energy levels fluctuate. So other negative outcomes include increased fatigue. So you may be fine going in the gym, but then because of the part of the cycle that you are in, you could drain your energy levels, like I mentioned before, and cause yourself to become more tired than you need to be. This can make it difficult to maintain your regular workout routine and also can cause negative impacts to your overall well-being. So the energy that you needed to function for the rest of the day is now gone because you burned it all on just a workout. You can also put increased stress on the body too. So training incorrectly during your period can put unnecessary stress on your body, which can lead to increased cramps, bloating, and other discomforts. So this one's pretty surprising. You can imbalance your hormones as well. Engaging in excessive exercise during menstruation can cause a hormonal imbalance, leading to irregular periods, fatigue, and other health problems. I've actually experienced this one, and it's pretty scary. There was a point in time where I was just going in with the no pain, no gain. And my periods were all over the place, man. Like I'm saying, super, super late. In addition to a really bad diet, I was also training way too hard and I was not seeing my periods on time, but now I do. So another negative effect is that you can have a lack of progress in your fitness goals. So if you are not training correctly during your menstrual cycle, you may not be able to make progress towards your fitness goals. This can lead to frustration and lack of motivation, and then eventually you might fall off, and that is a huge negative effect too. So training too hard during your period can also cause iron deficiency. Heavy menstrual bleeding can lead to iron deficiency, and if you're not supplementing with iron and still engage in intensive training, you could develop iron deficiency anemia, which can have negative effects on your overall health and performance. You can also disrupt your menstrual cycle. So that was mentioned a little bit earlier. Incorrect training during the menstrual cycle can disrupt the menstrual cycle, leading it to irregular periods or even your period disappearing completely. I think one of the best examples I can think of for that is people that train to be in those like competitions for physique. It's very often where I would hear that their periods would disappear, and that is such a scary thing. But it's definitely a testament to how a woman's body is sensitive to how much physical activity can be put into it. So next, believe it or not, you can actually have some sleep disturbances. Training too hard during the menstrual cycle can disrupt sleep patterns, making it harder to get a good night's sleep and leaving you feeling more fatigued during the day. You can also experience increased risk of bone loss. The hormonal changes that occur during the menstrual cycle can also affect bone health. And if you're not training correctly, you may be at a higher risk of bone loss. And last, and super important too, you can have reduced immune function as a negative of not training properly. Training too hard during the menstrual cycle can also suppress the immune system, making you more susceptible to illnesses and infections. So don't just think that because you are exercising and you are exercising a lot that you are in the clear. You can do it too much to the point where your body is thrown off and you're getting just as sick as someone that does not take care of themselves. You can make sure that you don't experience any of these negatives as well. You can foresee these things. You can keep on track on your fitness goals as well. This is really the game changer and the secret weapon for getting to your goals. And let's be real, a good plan in place just makes you feel more confident about overcoming those hard times too. Because at the end of the day, fitness is not just like a temporary thing. This is a lifelong experience, journey, and a lifestyle. So knowing how to plan around the falls, the lows is just as important as getting in there and doing the right thing. So I hope you found this video helpful and informative. I do plan on sharing a lot more videos about menstruation and fitness and how they tie together and how to go about it. This is definitely something that is not as common as I would have thought that it would be, given how important it is. I've really been hurting myself in the past, and this might be a common thing too. There may be a wave of us out there that are just abusing our bodies when we really don't have to, and it's causing us to not see results. I really hope that really gives good insight, and that I can continue to share some good stuff for you guys so that you can stay safe, keep seeing some results, and overall just enjoy the process too. Like, you don't want to hate what you're doing at the same time too. Like, that's just not real. If you haven't already, definitely subscribe for more content like this, and give me a thumbs up. That lets me know that I should keep doing videos like this. Again, thank you for coming here and watching, and until next time, see ya. Bye.